And we are starting with some breaking news coming in at top of this hour. It is official now. The Northern Alliance has confirmed to Republic TV that the Al-Qaeda has now joined their hands with Taliban to take on the Northern Alliance resistance movement. This is the latest coming in of the Al-Qaeda that has now officially joined hands with Taliban. The Northern Alliance has now confirmed this move. Republic has gotten its first confirmation about the same. We'll first take a look at this phone conversation.
Last night, while Taliban were continuing their offensive through Khabar Pass, in the north of the Panjshir, they started another offensive through the mouth of the valley and via Parvan province. They have been defeated heavily there. The figures that we already have, 115 of them have been killed, around 200 of them have been wounded, 35 of them have been detained. Their 4 armways have been destroyed, as well as 2 heavy weaponry, and they have been forced to step back. Panjshir, September 1st, 2021. Last night, while Taliban were continuing their offensive through Khabar Pass, in the north of the Panjshir, they started another offensive through the mouth of the valley and via Parvan province. They have been defeated heavily there. The figures that we already have, 115 of them have been killed, around 200 of them have been wounded, 35 of them have been detained. Their 4 armways have been destroyed, as well as 2 heavy weaponry, and they have been forced to step back. Panjshir, September 1st, 2021.
So that was an official reaction coming in from the Northern Alliance spokesperson, who has given Republic a confirmation that it is official now that the Northern Alliance has confirmed to Republic TV that the Al-Qaeda has now joined their hands with the Taliban to take on the Northern Alliance resistance movement. And remember, Northern Alliance had made sure that the entire Panjshir area is still under their control. But at the same time, we have seen as to how the Taliban is also giving it back, trying to capture the region. Meanwhile, the Al-Qaeda has now officially joined hands with the Taliban, and Republic gets its first confirmation about the same, that Al-Qaeda has certainly joined their hands with the Taliban to attack Panjshir. It seems like after suffering a setback, the Taliban is now taking the help of the Al-Qaeda, and according to the official sources and officials that are indicating that Masood's army are dealing Taliban, have in a way given a Taliban a blow, which has led to this official confirmation coming in of the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda joining hands. A total of 350 Talibani terrorists have been killed so far, if we talk about the Panjshir altercation and the fight that is still on. Meanwhile, back to the wall, Taliban is taking now the help of Al-Qaeda. Let me go across to Colonel Prabal Das Gupta, who's also joining us over the phone line. Colonel Prabal Das Gupta, your first reaction to this latest confirmation coming in for Republic TV that the Northern Alliance has now confirmed that Al-Qaeda and Taliban have now joined hands for fighting in Panjshir.
Yeah, thank you. So, Al-Qaeda and Taliban have had an old relationship, so it's not very surprising. In fact, Taliban had sheltered Al-Qaeda in the 90s, and Al-Qaeda was actually behind the killing of the former leader, Ahmad Shah Massoud, just before the WTC strike. So that was bound to happen, given that Taliban has found its place in Afghanistan. So, but we have to keep in mind that even when Taliban and Al-Qaeda were together in the 90s, they had not made a dent in the Panjshir Valley, despite the fact that both were together even then. However, this time with lots of other extra support in terms of their equipment, weapons, etc., they would pose a greater threat to the Northern Alliance. And it remains to be seen how they hold out. But Northern Alliance needs support, and whether it is through the route of Tajikistan, but it would need external support to withstand the coming together of Al Qaeda and Taliban. Given that they have had an older relationship, they will also get support from Pakistan. It is to the credit of Amrullah Saleh and his troops that they are still holding out. It's very difficult to penetrate into the Panjshir Valley, which they have none of the forces, neither Soviet forces in the 1980s nor Taliban in the 1990s, have been able to penetrate into Panjshir Valley. Therefore, I believe, including the Al Qaeda, is also a kind of going back to the old days of 1990s when Al Qaeda and Taliban had combined to take out Ahmad Shah Massoud. It is also a threat not just for the Panjshir Valley, but for the world as such, because it is going back to 2000-2001 when Al Qaeda had made Afghanistan their hub under the Taliban. So we are going back to those days, which is indeed a matter of concern.
All right, thank you so much, Colonel Prabal Das Gupta, for joining us here on Republic TV. We'll also go across to Major General Sanjay Soi, who's also joining us on the broadcast now. Major General Sanjay Soi, your first reaction to this confirmation that Republic has gotten that now Al Qaeda and Taliban have joined their hands to face and take on the Northern Alliance resistance movement.
Yeah, absolutely right. In fact, this information I also got it. And though they were in loggerhead earlier, but the fact is that Taliban found it very, very difficult to make any headway in Panjshir. So they have now joined hands with Al Qaeda, because the main factor which is creating the problem for Taliban is the leadership in Panjshir, the ground condition, the terrain in the Panjshir, and the jazba, or the feelings and the commitment of the fighters of the Panjshir. So it is making it very, very difficult for Taliban to make any headway. And in fact, the Panjshir historically has not been captured in the past also. That is also a sense of pride with them. And Ahmad Shah Massoud, the erstwhile lion of Panjshir, had set an example of the bravery of the area of the Northern Alliance. So they are giving very hard time to Taliban, and at present the Taliban joining hands with Al Qaeda, probably I think the hand of Pakistan is behind this. He has made both come together, and as we all know, all the links of all the terrorist or militant organizations go back to Pakistan. So Pakistan has become a total hub of the terrorists, and which is a big threat for not only to India but the whole world. So this kind of thing, but I'm very confident the Panjshir will not fall in spite of the lack of resources, lack of international support, but the kind of feeling, that kind of commitment they have, I'm sure they will hold on. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Major General Soi, another short question to you. Do you also believe that after the blow that the Taliban has received, and as confirmed to Republic as well, about 350 Taliban terrorists have been killed? In a way, the Taliban has been pushed back to the wall, and that's the reaction that we are now witnessing, that the Al Qaeda and the Taliban are coming together. Yeah,
absolutely right. Because the kind of victory the Taliban had got without fighting, there's the first tough fights Panjshir is giving them, the Northern Alliance is giving them. So they found it very, very difficult, because they're not probably used to fighting. The kind of leadership which they have is not up to the mark. The kind of training which they have, they may have all kinds of American weapon systems. They may have all kinds of numbers with them. But the leadership on the Northern Alliance side and the commitment of the soldiers there, the training of the soldiers there is much better. The ground condition are also with them. So the Taliban has been shaken up. They did never realize that Panjshir would be such a tough nut to crack. And that's why they have joined hands with Al Qaeda, which is actually a bad thing for the world, because they had committed that they will not allow any terrorist activities to take place from the Afghanistan. Now they are going back on their word. Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Major General Sanjay Soi, for joining us here on the broadcast. We'll once again listen into what the spokesperson of the Northern Alliance had to say when they confirmed to a Republic that indeed the Taliban and Al Qaeda have come together to fight the Northern Alliance resistance movement.
Last night, while Taliban were continuing their offensive through Khabar Pass in the north of the Panjshir, they started another offensive through the mouth of the valley via Parvan province. They have been defeated heavily there. The figures that we already have, 115 of them have been killed, around 200 of them have been wounded, 35 of them have been detained. Their 4 armways have been destroyed, as well as 2 heavy weaponry, and they have been forced to step back. Panjshir, September 1st, 2021.